Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, sitting down to talk about Fallout 76. I'm back. I know, I didn't expect this one after I played the Pitt, and I was like, this ain't it, fam. I thought that was it for my Fallout 76 career. You know, I kept a really open mind with this game. I've tried to come back multiple times. I was very much complimentary of Fallout 76 Wastelanders, but since then it's been steadily downhill, and I thought that was it after the Pitt. I thought that was the one chance to be the saving grace of the game, going beyond Appalachia, and it just didn't land for me. And then there were problems existing before the game even came out during the beta that were still prevalent, problems within the Pitt. I just couldn't take it. However, word of mouth spreads fast, and I've been hearing a lot about this Nuka World update, and all I've heard when it came to this update is really good things. Like, yo, this is actually fun. This is a good sign of 76's future. Double 11 was heavily in on this one. This is the support studio that they signed to help out with 76 production. And I thought, all right, with Double 11 in mind, and of course hearing both hardcore 76 fans who seem to like anything put into this game, but more importantly, the kind of flyby player that's not really in love with 76, just wants a Fallout fix, also saying they really liked it, I thought, well, the latter certainly is me. I'll never hardcore play 76, but if I can get my fix, and it is just a fun time, I can live with this game existing, quite frankly. So, into Nuka World on tour, I went, the latest game update, and the question was I wrong about 76? Well, that's a trick question. Matty's never wrong. But in all seriousness, I wanted to see if 76 would prove me wrong. You know, I've heard amazing things about this update, so I dove in, and I'm excited to talk about it. It was actually pretty good. So, yes, a positive 76 video is coming your way. As always, I'll have critiques, but overall, if this is a sign of what's to come, quality-wise, and how they actually give you content, this could be a bright future finally after all these years. So, let's get into it. If you're new here, ladies and gentlemen, and you're into Fallout content, certainly you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. The reason I was mainly interested in this is thanks to Fallout 4's DLC. The Nuka World DLC was such a whiplash moment. You go from something like Far Harbor, which is dark, brooding, RPG driven, right? Multiple branching story paths. And then you go to Nuka World in the next major expansion for that game, and it's all mini games and shoot 'em up dungeons, kind of a return to Fallout 4's formula that not a lot of people loved, but also doubling down on the bad guy stuff, as you could become a raider and go back out into the wasteland and take over your own settlements and whatnot and be the bad guy finally, which is something that was pretty tough to do in Fallout 4. So with that in mind, I was curious to see what they were going to borrow from Fallout 4, because to be honest, a lot of the things in 76, even its, quote, newest updates, end quote, are assets heavily borrowed from Fallout 4, and I know certainly this would be the case for something that they had an entire DLC based off of in 2016. But I like the way they used it. So in this update, this isn't something so major as something like the Pitt, which is a brand new feature and set of mechanics to the game. But this is the last major update of 2022, so it is certainly a noteworthy one. It adds a handful of new events, some new weapons, of course, some quality of life enhancements, a brand new boss, and I gotta say, the events here are fun, and I think I found out why this worked for me. So the event I liked the most was this Wild West Showdown event, where you'd have to steal buckaroos and you'd have to bring them back to the carriage, and you had to protect them from effectively Securitrons, but they were all dressed up in these funny outfits. They were making really smart use of enemies you've already seen in 76, but redecorating them, and it was just absolute chaos. But I actually felt like I could participate in this one because they recently nerfed some of the really broken legendaries in 76. So typically when I jump into one of these events, people are playing the game for me. I can't really get involved, and I'm not saying I got to be the star of the show, but I would like to just, you know, get a shot in here, but you know, I'd like to get a shot in here, kill an enemy there, get some XP. That'd be kind of nice, right? And so even though there were a ton of people as a part of this event and it was chaotic, it was a fun type of chaos, as you were fighting enemy after enemy after enemy. And then the best surprise of them all was when you complete the event, they give you the weapon drop guaranteed. So a lot of 76 is built around repetition, you know, until you finally get the thing you're looking for after repeating event after event after event. So is the world of live service games in general, but for 76, this was something that was prevalent, and I felt was going against the design of the game it was based off of, right? Like with Fallout, it wasn't always about random loot like we saw in Fallout 4 with its legendaries and 76 with its events. So it was really nice to finish an event and get this Western-style rifle that had a Nuka World skin on it and was really good. It was a 3-star legendary, and I could just throw this bad boy on, and it was great. I was actually running around doing other missions using it, and it felt like they finally got something here, because not only did they have a fun, creative mission that, granted, it boils down to a shoot 'em up, but just the way they used the enemies, the way they colored them up, it had something that 76 has been lacking: personality, right? Its personality at first I thought was an ugly one, which was just like no one was there. It was all robots and machines, as we already know with the base game. And you finally added the Wastelanders element, and that brought it back to a standard of like, okay, at least it's a Fallout game now. It's not a traditional one, but it has the Fallout elements where you can talk to characters, you have dialogue selection. That's good. Okay, now what makes 76 different beyond its multiplayer? And I feel like some of that was captured here in this event. It felt like one of those fun moments where I went, hey, only this can happen in 76. And I just love the way they captured Nuka World as this sort of on-tour event, going from different spots in the wasteland. They end up here in the Appalachia. They set it up. And there's a ton of other things you can do. There's one based around a tunnel of love, and you can go in there and like protect the marriage effectively as mole miners assault you in the tunnels below the ground. It's absolutely insane. But I still ended up enjoying it. And again, I got a new legendary weapon called Love Tap, 3-star. I was thinking, wow, that is so nice. Like, I like that I don't have to grind for this loot, and it's actually good loot at that, because to the point I was making earlier with the first event is I took that weapon and I was kind of just encouraged to go run around the open world and make use of the new toy I got, right? So I ran to some Blood Eagle camp and I started wiping them out with the new semi-auto rifle I got, and it was fun. It was satisfying. I think right now when I'm looking at these events, if we can keep this same level of personality, making them interesting and reusing assets, which is always fine because any video game worth its value is going to reuse assets. Otherwise, it'll always be in development forever and it'll cost way too much. But reusing assets is fine. It's just got to get creative with it. And it feels like this was the first time they got really, truly creative with it, where it felt new and it felt authentic to 76 in a positive way. And so when it had me running around the open world doing some extra stuff, I was thinking, you know, we're like one balance change and major update away from this game being in a spot where we can start getting some true momentum here. And I know it's very late in its life cycle to get actual momentum, but to me, when I look at the game, my biggest problem right now is the balancing. I know it's balanced for co-op, but when you are not in a party, this game can be tedious to play. The amount of damage that a lot of enemies are going to soak up, especially the major legendary ones, it's awful. And I feel like this game could fix that. It should have fixed it a while ago, but it could fix that. And if it does, it'll be much more enjoyable to play when you already have the loot fixes in place. I just feel like we're knocking on the door, and all you need is like that good expansion, that kind of Wastelanders moment again. The problem with 76 though is even when it starts to ramp up and get better, if they were to dare to charge money for content, I really fear for 76 and how that would look. I mean, they have to have their true earn it moment, because right now they're satisfying a very loyal fan base that is full of very nice people, by the way. 76 fan base is awesome in the terms of their attitude, but they serve them first and foremost. They have not focused on the breakout audience or even winning back fans such as myself. But I feel if they're going to do it this way, which is staying true to what 76 is, you got to find that personality in the content, which I feel like they truly did here. So from the event to the actual loot and how it's handed out to you, I liked it. And yeah, even the Nuka-cade arcade games are here. So as you complete these events and as you do these Nuka World arcade games, you're going to get points and you can go to terminals and spend them on stuff. Now, one thing I liked about Nuka World on Tour compared to Fallout 4, yes, real sentence coming out of my mouth, was the way that they rolled out these points. Because in Fallout 4, you had to grind. You really had to grind. But in 76, when you complete an event, they're like, here's 5,000. And when you finish some of these mini games, they're like, here's 300 if you perform pretty well. And you can afford stuff pretty quickly. Now, the best stuff you can get are plans that are going to go to your camp. You can actually unlock these mini games and put them in your camp, which I just think is, again, awesome. That's the personality we're looking for. Is it Fallout in nature? Absolutely not. But if 76 is going to go this more wacky route, it may as well really lean into it and just have some fun with it, which I feel like they're knocking on the door of. Because I remember we had this event that was Invaders from Beyond. And it seemed to me like, okay, we're getting wacky with it. Like, we're leaning into the Mothership Zeta vibes. But they never did. It was like one event, and it was mostly focused on the atomic shop. It was mostly focused on the scoreboard. And that's when 76 is at its worst, when it's just leaning into milking the very loyal fan base it has. For me, I feel like this is a sign of a good balance. Like, what was here, I got new content. I got weapons easily. It enticed me to play the game more. And it felt like a framework that could be worth believing in down the line if the proper adjustments are made. But to my earlier point, that grind from Fallout 4's Nuka World is gone. Like, you can just rack up the points and you can go spend them on plans and you can get everything you want with relative ease. My biggest complaint, and it's really not a Nuka World on tour complaint, and it's probably never been a complaint of mine for the entire game's life because I never cared about the events. But since these were so fun, and since I wanted to replay them, it was kind of unfortunate sitting there going, I want to like hop into one of these events again, but I got to wait for it to pop up. And so I was backing out and rejoining worlds until I could find them. And it was still kind of tough, but I do wish I could get into them more often, which again was a good sign. Like, those organic moments for me, especially with something like 76, where I'm typically staring at the screen with glazed over eyes going, what am I doing in my life right now? I'm having an existential crisis, clearly. It felt like, wow, I'm actually engaging and I'm enjoying and I'm seeking out content. And then when I couldn't find the content, I was like, well, I want to use this new weapon. I'm going to go just play the game. I haven't had that since Wastelanders. So is this like a major turning point? Go download this almost 70 gigabyte game? No, I'm not going to tell you that. But what I'm going to do is put you on watch like I've put myself on watch. And really take a good hard look at the next update here. Because remember, this is the last one for 2022. And I'm very interested in seeing the 2023 roadmap because that's going to be accounting for the extra hands on deck they have with Double 11. So this is not just Bethesda Game Studios Austin. And I'm also interested to see how things look with, Starfield in the mix. How do you balance that out? You have to think that some developers are going to shift over to Starfield because that's got to be an all hands on deck project. So I'm going to pay close attention to it, but I'm very curious to see how 76 handles itself in 2023 because for me, I thought it looked like it was on life support when they first announced the roadmap. Then they got Double 11, and I said, hey, I'll hold my L. It looks like they're not done because it's clear as day they're investing in it. This game could shut down at any point in time just because all it takes is one flick of the wrist by Phil Spencer, and he's like, yep, go work on something else because he owns the IP. Xbox owns the IP, so they could make that call. But I'm very interested to see how this scales up because if it does scale up, you know where this is going to lead us, right? There was that leak for the Fallout 3 Expedition. And that is going to be the biggest test of them all. Fallout 3, top 3 game of all time for me. And to see them jump into that one, if it's as fun as Nuka World is, I'll be game. But I'm going to be mighty critical of that one. So we'll see, but I wanted to be fair to the game, as always. My plan was when I fired the game up, if I didn't like it, and I didn't enjoy this update, I'm not going to make another video destroying the game. I've already done like 10 of those for different reasons. I don't need to go in on a smaller update in the scheme of things. But if I do like it, I wanted to make a video. So I gave it a chance, played it for a couple hours, and I thought, hey, this is fun. This is much better than anything they've put out this year. So there's that. Hopefully it's a step in the right direction and not just the blind squirrel finding a nut. And it's like, oh, well, I guess that was inevitably going to happen. We'll see in due time, but have you played Nuka World on tour? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to see your thoughts on it because, yeah, I enjoyed it. That just feels so weird to say, but I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts. With that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all.